Welcome to the Gospel Sleep, a peaceful corner made just for you. If your heart feels weary, if your thoughts won't quiet down, if you've been lying awake trying to find peace, you've come to the right place. Tonight, let go of everything that burdens you. You don't need to be strong right now. You don't need to figure it all out. You only need to rest in God's presence. As you listen, imagine sitting beside a gentle fire under the night sky. The air is cool. The stars are bright, and the Word of God flows softly around you like the sound of a river. Each verse whispers truth into your heart. Be still and know that I am God. Let those words wash over your thoughts and calm the storm within. Here, in this moment, God meets you right where you are in your exhaustion, in your fears, in your sleepless nights. He's not waiting for you to be perfect. He's simply inviting you to rest. Every video on this channel is created to help you find that sacred stillness to breathe, to reflect, and to fall asleep in peace. So whenever life feels overwhelming, open godly sleep and let the spirit of calm surround you. If you haven't already, please subscribe and be part of our loving community of believers who rest together in His Word each night. Share these moments with others who might need peace too. Together, we can create a haven of calm where everyone is reminded you are loved, you are safe, and God is near. Now, take one more deep breath, exhale, and rest. You're exactly where you're meant to be, in the gentle arms of peace. I warmly invite you to join me in this comforting evening of Bible reading. Open your heart a little. Let the lamp cast a small circle of light. Let the quiet hold the rest of the room. I sit with a Bible in my lap. A soft blanket rests over my knees. The page breathes under my fingers. Outside, the night moves slowly. Inside, the hush is wide. I begin by breathing with you. Inhale slowly. Hold for a moment. Exhale and let the shoulders drop. Let the jaw loosen. The breath finds its own slow rhythm. Each breath is like a gentle wave. It comes in, it goes out. The body learns to listen. I read slowly. I do not rush the words. I do not press them into your ears. I let them fall like small, warm stones into a shallow pool. The ripples move outward. They touch no one sharply. They soothe. Tonight, the passages stay simple. They bring mercy first. They offer rest next. They point to a gentle presence that knows wounds and carries them without hurry. Jesus walks softly in these pages. He notices the small things. He bends toward the hurting. He speaks in ways that rest the spirit. I tell a story from his life, not in loud detail, but in a hush. He sits beside the road and sees a crowd whose faces are tired. He moves through the crowd and pauses where the hurt gathers most. He does not condemn. He extends a hand. He opens his arms. He invites those who carry heavy burdens to set them down. There is no shame there, only welcome. The welcome holds time, mercy, and a light that feels like home. Hear this, as if I am beside you. Imagine a lamp between us. Its glow is kind. Imagine a small wooden chair across from you. On that chair sits a basket of wool. In the basket are threads of every color. Each thread is a hurt. Some are bright and sharp. Some are dull and frayed. You do not have to mend them alone. Someone sits near who knows how to weave broken threads into a new fabric that holds warmth. I speak about rest because it comes like an invitation. The words that point to rest do not demand proof. They quietly promise that it is okay to be weary and to ask for help. The promise is simple. It says there is a place to lay down burdens. It says the hands that receive them are gentle. It says the weight lifts, not by force, but by meeting. I paraphrase the lines that teach trust. God notices birds in the field and the flowers along the path. The care that covers them is not small. That same care reaches for every small thing you hide in your chest, even when thoughts spin late into the night. There is a steady presence that keeps watch. Imagine that presence as a small light at the window. It is not too bright to disturb your sleep. It keeps the dark honest and manageable. I move slowly to mercy. Mercy is not a concept only. It is a touch. It is what a good shepherd does when one of the flock limps. The shepherd picks up the lamb. He carries it back without fuss. We learn in these lines that mercy sees the limp and acts. It does not list reasons. It simply comes near. Think of forgiveness in the same gentle way. Forgiveness is an open hand that releases something heavy into the air. It does not demand forgetting. It offers space. Space for healing. Space for the heart to breathe differently. You may hold a handful of stones called regrets. I invite you to offer them up by laying them on a small table beside you. You do not have to throw them away. You can simply set them down and let someone else hold them for a while. There is comfort in the image of a father running across a field to meet a child who returns. The rush of welcome is honest and free. It is not earned. It is given, because love notices first. When you feel too small to be welcomed, remember that the welcome comes before any explanation. The embrace arrives first. I read on about light. Light appears in the darkest corners. It does not shame the dark. It simply shows things as they are and warms them. The teachings of Jesus encourage small acts of light. A kind word, a steady presence, a hand on a shoulder in the quiet of the night. These acts do not erase suffering. They make the next step easier. The voice in these pages also speaks of rest for the soul. Rest is not an absence of care. It is a safe place to bring care. Consider a room with a window that opens onto a calm river. The river keeps moving, but the room holds still. Here, the heart can be honest. Here, sorrow can be named without fear. Here, hope can arrive in slow, steady measures. I ask you to picture a small garden behind that room. In it grows a plant that has been bruised by seasons. It leans, but the gardener tends it with patience. Each morning, the gardener checks the roots. Each evening, a soft cup of water arrives. The plant does not recover all at once, but it keeps sensing attention. So do you. I speak about prayer, not as formal sentences, but as a way of turning toward mercy. Prayer can be a single word. It can be a quiet sigh. It can be a breath that carries a name. You do not need the right vocabulary. You need simply to turn. The act of turning is itself a kind of rest. I share a little practice now. Close your eyes. If that feels safe, keep them open. If you prefer, place your hand on your chest. Feel the rise and fall. Name one thing that weighs you. Say it softly in your mind. Then imagine placing it into a small paper boat. Place the boat at the edge of the river in the garden. Watch the current, take it gently. The boat might not vanish. You can see it drifting. Let that be enough for tonight. I remind you of small, practical comforts. A warm cup of tea before bed. A blanket that smells faintly of home. A chair that cradles the body. These are not cures for deep sorrow. They are tender helpers. They make a safe space to rest, while deeper healing does its slow work. The teachings here ask for patience. Healing is not quick like a bandage. It is like a tree growing out of seasons. Roots deepen, branches mend broken places, leaves remember sunlight. The work happens under the surface long before it appears above it. Trust the hidden work. I also speak of community as gentle company. The presence of another person who listens without trying to fix everything is a balm. It matters to have one person who sits and lends quiet attention. If there is no one here in the room with you, imagine the voice of someone kind. Hear them say your name. Let that imagined voice echo the welcome you heard from the pages. I read of hope that does not shout. Hope in these lines feels like a steady ember. It does not pretend the night is gone. It simply promises that morning is a pattern that returns. Night has its place. Morning has its place. In between, there is care. You are held during both. Tonight, the words do not isolate sorrow. They name it and then wrap it in tenderness. They do not make demands about how fast you recover. They do not add pressure to be different. They simply point to a presence that waits with you. That presence holds what you cannot hold. It sees the edges of your pain and does not flinch. I read an image of a small lamp on a long walking path. The path is familiar to many. Sometimes it curves and hides the way forward. The lamp's glow reaches only a short distance, but it is enough to take the next step. Keep your attention on that short distance. Take the next step there. Later, another step will be visible. This is how healing moves. One small step at a time. I remind you that sometimes the healing work asks for rest first. Rest is not laziness. It is part of the slow mending. Allow yourself to rest tonight. Let the day's achievements and failures lie down too. There is a hand that picks them up so that your shoulders can be light. Before we close this time together, we breathe once more. Inhale slowly. Count to 3. Hold gently. Release for 4. Feel the chest soften. Feel the face soften. Bring to mind one small blessing from this day. It may be a warm moment of light. It may be the sound of a distant laugh. Let that small blessing rest beside the river. I place a final image before you. Imagine a porch at dusk. 2 people sit there. They say little. Their silence is comfortable. The sky moves from purple to deep blue. Stars begin to appear. One of them reaches out and touches the other's hand. That touch says, "You are not alone." Let that touch be for you now. When this part of the reading ends, the breath has slowed. The shoulders are less tight. A gentle sense of permission fills the chest. Permission to be tired. Permission to heal slowly. Permission to keep going. I will close the Bible. The page turns quietly. The lamp softens, but does not go out. There is a small intention in the silence to meet you again, to read again, to bring more passages that comfort without pushing. Tonight we only begin. The next reading will come with the same slow care. Lie still a moment longer. Feel the peace that sits close to mercy. Know that the teachings you heard are like a hand reaching into the dark. Take that hand if you wish. Let it guide the next small step. When you are ready, rest. The night moves with you. The love that watches moves with you too. I open the Bible again. Softly. The leather makes a small sound. The room answers with a slow hush. The lamp is low. The page breathes under my thumb. I set the tone now. Healing moves slowly. It asks for gentle attention. It needs the right kind of quiet. I arrange the space in small ways. A cup sits nearby. A blanket folds over a chair. The clock ticks like a quiet metronome. Nothing in the room demands a quick move. The air is neither cold nor hot. It is easy to breathe. I ask you to make small adjustments with me. Turn down the bright lights. Let a single light stay. If you have a candle, watch its small life. If not, imagine a candle just beyond reach. Let the eyes rest on one point. Let the shoulders loosen. Place a hand where it feels grounded. In these small acts, the body begins to agree to rest. I read aloud with no rush. Each sentence arrives like a soft step. I stop where the words ask for stopping. I leave space for the mind to sink. The pauses are part of the reading. They are not empty. They hold what came before and make room for what comes next. Let silence do a little of the healing work tonight. I choose passages that breathe mercy. I choose lines that carry peace. I avoid heavy ideas that weigh the heart. Instead, I select moments that show a kind presence at work. Jesús appears as a quiet companion. He moves close to the hurting and tends the small wounds first. He notices a silent ache and rests beside it. These moments teach a gentle way of being with ourselves. As I read, I guide you to listen with the body. The ears take the words. The chest notices the rhythm. The hands feel the warmth of the blanket. The feet find the floor again. This listening is not an exercise in thinking harder. It is an invitation to sense. Let the body answer in small ways. Let the breath become slow and easy. I use images that fit the night. Imagine a small harbor. Boats float without strain. They do not push forward. They do not worry about the wind. A harbor holds them. The harbor does not change the sea. It simply keeps the boat steady. The presence that heals is like that harbor. It does not fix everything at once. It gives rest that holds. I speak of care that does not require explanation. Think of a warm stone pressed to a bruise. The stone is not judgment. It is comfort. It offers steady heat. That heat moves into tight places. It helps them soften. Healing often starts like that, with steady warmth rather than loud medicine. I invite a simple habit. During the reading, take one breath that belongs only to you. Breathe in slowly. Hold for a moment. Breathe out longer. Let that one breath be an offering. Let it carry one small thing that wants to be lighter. It might be a worry. It might be a tired name. Release it on the out-breath and let the room catch it. The room will not judge. The room will hold. I do not require great words from you. Prayer in this time is quiet and plain. It can be a whispered one-word turn toward mercy. It can be a soft name placed into the palms. The act of turning is the thing that matters. The rest follows. I guide the listening with simple pictures. Close your eyes if that feels safe. Picture a small kitchen at dusk. A pot simmers. The smell is mild and steady. Someone sets a bowl across the table. No words are needed. The bowl is an invitation. You are invited to sit and to let the food do its slow work. This is how the teachings of Jesus come to us, as an invitation to sit, to be fed, to be known without hurry. I read passages about kindness. They show ordinary acts. A hand reached out to steady a stumbling step, a seat given without comment, a cup offered to a tired traveler. These are not grand solutions. They are the quiet medicine of daily life. They teach that healing grows when simple needs are met again and again. I also bring attention to shame and to regret. The pages offer a soft way to name them. Shame shrinks in the light of unhurried acceptance. Regrets are like a small pile of stones. They weigh the steps. I invite you to imagine carrying them to the edge of a path. Lay them down. Walk back a few steps. Let the shoulders relax. If the stones are too many to put down all at once, choose one. That one will be enough for tonight. I speak of mercy without definitions that complicate. Mercy in these lines looks like a hand that gently lifts what is heavy. It does not weigh the reason. It simply attends. The act of being attended to changes a body's posture. It allows a heart to become less defensive and more open to small sustenance. I set a quiet rhythm for the reading. I read a few lines. I pause. I breathe. I wait. In the silence. Music arises not from an instrument, but from the body settling. Let that music be your guide. It tells when you are ready for more, and when you need only to rest. I show an image of repair that is patient. Healing is not a sudden patch. It is like weaving a fragile cloth. Each stitch moves slowly. Each thread finds its place. Sometimes the work is done without anyone watching. The slow seam is the part that matters most. Trust the seam. I remind you of mercy given without proof. The stories in the pages show that welcome often comes before we perform. A return is met by open arms. A confession is met by listening. A tear is met by steady hands. These responses teach how to offer mercy to ourselves. We need not earn it. We need only receive it. I offer a short practice for the hands. Rest them in the lap. Make a small circle with the fingers until the touch feels warm. Picture the palms as soft bowls. Imagine placing a small, broken thing into them. Hold it without squeezing. Let the edges rest against the skin. That small attention changes how the mind treats the broken thing. It will not rush the mending. It will sit with it. I read about hope that is humble. Hope shows up like a slow sunrise over a coastline. It does not arrive all at once. The sky changes little by little. The first color is faint, and then it grows. So too, hope grows in small increments. The readings ask for steady attendance to those small colors. Notice one brightness tomorrow. Let it be enough. I keep the language simple. The words do not demand elaborate thoughts. They are shaped to be heard on a tired ear. They carry the same rhythm as a lullaby. They respect the thickness of night and the need for softness. I emphasize presence over perfection. Being present to a hurt is often more healing than trying to explain it away. The pages show compassion that sits with pain. The sitting itself is a kind of care. It does not fix everything. It does not need to. I speak of the community of rest. You may not be in a room with others now, but the sense of company matters. Imagine a small circle of lamps around which people gather. Each lamp adds a little heat. No one in the circle is asked to fix another. They are simply there. That still presence does a quiet work, like warm tea on a cold night. Let the imagined presence be close for you now. I avoid arguing about heavy matters. Tonight is for easing a heart and calming a mind. The words do not train for debate. They train for gentleness. They teach mercy as a practice. They teach trust as a small, steady a bit. I invite a way to end this part of the evening. Take 3 slow breaths with me now. Inhale easy. Hold for a small count. Exhale even longer. Let the exhale be a long sigh that the body recognizes. Let the shoulders fall a little more. Feel the chest grow soft. I place one last image in the space. Imagine a small cove at night. The waves come and go with a quiet insistence. Each wave does not change the shore in an instant. It polishes the stone over many nights. Your healing is like that polishing. Each gentle moment matters. Each kind word to yourself is a tiny wave. I close this section with a careful pause. The Bible sits between us like a friend who knows how to wait. The words we have heard rest now in the room. Let them settle in the same calm way. The dust settles at dusk. When you are ready, let your gaze soften. Let your body follow the breath. Carry one small phrase from tonight into sleep, an invitation to rest. Let it be the first thing the mind touches in the dark. I will read again soon. For now, accept the ease that the readings bring. Let the night do its slow work. Let mercy keep watch. I open my Bible and let the page settle. The night is soft. The lamp breathes low. I sit with the passage that tells us Jesus invites the weary to come and find rest. I do not read it aloud as a command. I simply let the idea sit beside us like a warm cloth. Forgiveness is the next small thing I want to sit with. It is not a loud triumph. It is a gentle unfastening. It looks like loosening a knot that has been dug into a finger. It stings a little at first, Then the pressure eases. A small, bloodless space opens where breath can move again. I speak slowly. The words aim to soothe, not to fix. I describe forgiveness as a hand that lowers a weight. The hand does not point out where the weight came from. It only receives it. Receiving changes the shoulders. It makes room in the chest for air that was not there before. Think of forgiveness as warm water poured over a tight muscle. The water pushes into the small, hard places. The body relaxes around the warmth. This is how mercy works in the soul. It does not demand reasons. It offers a steady warmth that invites loosening. I read a simple sentence from the pages about rest. It is an invitation, not a test. The invitation reaches toward every tired heart, whether burdened by mistakes or by the long, slow ache of regret. The promise holds a quiet acceptance. It asks only that the traveler come near. Tonight, I guide a small practice to help the heart receive what is offered. Place a small object within reach. A pebble will do. A coin is fine. If nothing is near, imagine one in the palm. Name a single regret in the mind, and place that memory against the object as if it were a little stone. Do not catalogue every wrong. Choose one that now feels like the heaviest. Hold the stone softly. Feel its edge. Feel its weight. Breathe toward it. With the next breath, imagine passing the stone into a gentle hand that has been waiting. The hand is steady. It does not judge the stone. It accepts its shape. Let the shoulders drop a fraction. Stay with that small unburdening. It is a first step, not a final one. Forgiveness often has two directions. One turns inward. The other turns outward. Both are tender and both take time. Begin with the inward, the one that allows the body to stop recoiling. Learn to call oneself by name with kindness. The sound need not be loud. It can be a bare syllable in the dark. The voice that hears it may be the quiet voice that stays. For outward forgiveness, picture a small thread between you and another. The thread may be knotted in anger or in silence. Imagine holding that thread lightly. It does not have to be cut. It may be untied. Strand by strand, each gentle motion loosens a little of the tightness. The knot does not vanish instantly. It becomes less taut. That lessening frees space for a calmer breath. I avoid quick words about how to forgive perfectly. Perfection is not tonight's work. The text we read shows grace as a slow tide. It pulls out one pebble at a time. It does not sweep the shore in one sweep. Rushing only makes the shore ache again. I bring a quiet image from the scripture that is not a citation but a sense. I picture a field with small footprints returning. The figure who waits looks toward the road. The waiting is patient. The welcome is already poised. There is no ledger being balanced. The feet grow lighter as the distance shortens. The heart can follow that pace. Sometimes the hardest part is letting the memory of a wrong be small enough to hold. Memories often expand like night shadows when left alone. A simple way to shrink them is to tell one small truth about them. Say to yourself, in one sentence, what happened? Keep the sentence plain. Do not add a story about worth or failure. Facts give the mind fewer places to loop. The loop loosens. The mind rests. I teach a brief ritual that helps with that. Take a scrap of paper. Write one line. You do not need graceful language. The paper is private. Fold it once. Place it in a bowl nearby. Pour a little water over it. Watch the ink blur. Let the letters soften. The water will not remove the memory, but it changes its shape. The paper becomes less sharp. The heart learns that memories can be contained and altered. Forgiveness also includes forgiving the slow, small ways we have failed ourselves. The nights we did not say no. The mornings we did not stand up for what we know. Self-compassion is not indulgence. It is a practical kindness that changes the next small choice. Imagine a teacher who stops the lesson to help a child with a confused step. The child learns differently because the help is patient and specific. I ask the listener to practice a short kindness to self now. Place a warm hand over the place where the hurt sits. Maybe the ribs, maybe the belly. Hold it there. Feel the rhythm. Speak one short wish to yourself silently. The wish can be as simple as, "May I rest tonight?" Let the body register the wish like a small safety. In these pages, mercy often arrives in acts that look ordinary. A shared meal, a foot washed, a quiet question that opens a door. These acts are not grand. They are steady. They teach that forgiveness is action as much as it is feeling. To forgive someone or oneself often involves a small concrete stepanote, a phone call, a changed pattern. The act need not fix the past. It merely shifts the present. I avoid pushing for any public reconciliation. Sometimes forgiveness is private. It can be a secret exchange between a sinner and mercy. Other times it opens a new way between people. The reading does not demand reconciliation. It names the possibility of peace and leaves room for safety. Imagine a room where a small fire burns. The fire is not hot enough to harm, but it is warm enough to sit near. A kettle simmers quietly. A friend sits in an armchair. No words are required. The presence is enough. That scene models how healing often moves. It is not a courtroom. It is a living room. Presence matters more than verdicts. I remind the listener to be patient with the body in forgiveness work. Bodies remember differently than minds. A shoulder that has been tense for years needs time to let go. The practice of forgiveness is often more like physical therapy than a sudden cure. Gentle, repetitive, small motions over time change the muscle's response. Breath remains the simplest companion. Breathe slowly. Count in gentle numbers. Let the exhale linger a beat longer than the inhale. Each long exhale is a tiny release. It is a practice that teaches the nervous system that it is safe enough to soften. I encourage a nightly habit that pairs with this reading. Before sleep, name one small thing to let go of. It can be a word you keep saying in your head. It can be an expectation you can set aside. Place that thing into an imagined box. Close the lid. Set the box on a shelf. Leave the room. Come back in the morning if needed. For tonight, the shelf will be enough. Kindness to others is part of forgiveness too. A soft answer, an offered cup of water, a steady presence. These do not erase harm, but they open a different path. Ask for clarity. Offer small repair where safe and possible. When repair is not safe, protect the self. Mercy honors boundaries, as well as mending. I remind us both that the invitation to rest is wide. It reaches those who cannot forget, and those who cannot yet forgive. Both are acceptable in the quiet. The promise I read is not conditional on readiness. It is a steady scaffolding under fatigue and under the roughness of regret. As the reading moves toward a close, I offer a final image. Picture a soft blanket laid over a narrow wound like a bandage. The bandage is not ornate. It is gentle, absorbent, and clean. It does not say much. It simply holds the edges until the body can do its slow repair. Mercy is that bandage. It does not erase the cut. It keeps the edges from rubbing or team. The skin knits. The scar remains. But it no longer hurts like it did. I take a few slow breaths with you now. Each breath presses the idea of release a little deeper. It is okay if the release feels small. A small release, held nightly, becomes a larger one over months. Trust the pattern of gentle work. I fold the paper of the Bible closed with care. The lamp dims, but the room keeps a gentle note of light. The invitation lingers, come near when tired. Rest is ready. Forgiveness waits with hands that do not tally faults. Let the night be a kind place for the first small moves of mercy. Lieg still. Let the breath find its own rhythm. Hold one image from tonight, perhaps a little stone in the palm, or the paper blurring in water. Carry that image to sleep like a small lamp. The night does not demand rapid change. It promises kieyud care. When I lift the lamp, the glow softens but does not vanish. The hand at rest beneath the blanket stays warm. The next reading will come with the same slow care. For now, rest with forgiveness in the room, like a friendly presence. Let it watch over the first steps toward healing. I open the Bible and let the cover lie flat. The night breathes in the room. A low hush gathers like a soft cloak. Each hour feels patient. My voice comes slow. I speak as someone who reads to others before sleep. The reading tonight turns to the gentle law of kindness. It reminds us to be kind and to forgive. To give as we have been given. This is the gift of grace. Grace arrives like a present left on an unmarked porch. No name on the tag. No claim required. The hand that left it asks nothing in return. The gift is small and precise. It fits into a palm. It is lighter than every expectation. Receiving it requires only acceptance. That acceptance is itself a tiny act of courage. Think of a key found on a windowsill. The key is warm from a hand that held it a moment ago. It opens a door without questions. The door is not an exam. It is an entry. Walk through slowly. Notice how the shoulders ease when the threshold is crossed. The room beyond is plain. It holds a chair and a cup. It does not require explanation. This is a faithful image of grace. It opens without a ledger. Kindness in these pages looks like small repairs. A loose thread is mended. A candle is set on a table where darkness gathers. A footstep pauses to help someone steady a box. These are not heroic gestures. They are the quiet work of every day. They do not call attention. They create a safer map for the next person who walks by. Try tomorrow to offer one such repair. Tend a small tear. Make a plain call. Place a warm cup where a cold hand will later find it. The world softens with repetitions of small mercy. Forgiveness is a simple permission. It says that a hurt need not be the only identity of a moment. Forgiveness is a door that swings open after a hard knock. It does not remove memory. It changes the shape of the memory, so it no longer dictates every movement. Picture a bird that has been trapped beneath a net. Loving hands lift the net. The bird shakes its wings and discovers the air again. It may not fly far at once. The act of release invites a first brave flutter. That flutter is a kind of prayer. Grace does not ignore harm. It names it without amplifying it. A wound may still ache. Consequences may remain. But a new posture becomes possible. The body can stop bracing. The mind can learn a different script. In the quiet readings, grace sits beside pain. It does not lecture. It brings a soft cloth. It cools the burn so that later work can begin. That cooling is mercy in motion. There is a small practice I offer each night. Place a hand on the place where a memory sticks. Breathe toward it in 3 slow measures. On the out-breath, imagine the memory sitting on a small shelf across the room. It does not disappear. It simply rests somewhere safe, and notice that the chest becomes a little less tight. Repeating this gently each night trains the muscles to let go a little sooner. The shelf does not judge. It is simply a place. Kindness and forgiveness often arrive together. A meal shared after a long silence can both repair and release. A note left on a counter can be both an apology and an invitation to begin again. These acts do not guarantee reconciliation, but they open channels that were closed. Grace gives the first opening. The brave part is to accept or to leave it unopened according to safety. Mercy honors that discernment. Think of the potter's wheel. Clay arrives rough and stubborn. Water and touch steady it. The potter does not scold the lump. The hands shape. The vessel emerges without hurry. Grace is like that steady shaping. It does not demand perfection on the first turn. It trusts the process. Perhaps tonight, this faith in slow work can be held in the mind. Let the hands rest. Let the wheel keep turning beneath the shaping touch of a steady presence. There is a quiet danger in believing that grace must be earned by performing first. The pages remind otherwise. The gift comes before proof. It is given because a love notices and moves. This truth can be unsettling at first. The heart asks why. The answer is small and simple. Love is generous by nature. It does not tally successes like coins. It attends. Receiving this free attention rewrites how decisions feel. Oneself becomes less of a project and more of a dwelling. A careful line appears between forgiving and forgetting. Forgiveness does not force forgetfulness. It does not ask for exposure where exposure would harm. It keeps safeguard like a quiet fence. That fence does not antagonize. It protects the tender work underway. The reading holds both tenderness and prudence. Mercy can be given safely. Grace is wise in its giving. The habit of grace changes the way a day closes. Begin with a small count. Inhale slowly. hold for a moment. Exhale and imagine setting down one regret. Turn toward the good you accessed today. Perhaps it was a quiet moment when waiting was patient. Maybe it was a small word, offered without needing to be heard. Notice that these small goods accumulate like pebbles on a path. They guide the next step. Kindness usually asks for no theatrics. A steady, repeated care is the teacher. A gardener waters the same soil at the same hour. The plant responds in a time that is not ours to command. Practicing grace is the same. Give gently and often. The return may be slow or silent. The movement itself is its own reward. Let that rhythm ease the urgency. The mind sometimes attaches to outcomes. Forgiveness can also be practical. A small note can be folded and placed into an envelope. It need not be mailed. It can be a way to center the will. Write a line that names the hurt plainly. Fold the paper and put it into a drawer. Close the drawer. The act of containing the hurt without trying to erase it can change how the night holds it. That containment is a kind mercy. Community is not required for grace to exist, but it often witnesses it well. A listener who keeps company without correcting becomes a living reminder that one is not alone. Often the mere presence of another person who does not expect performance is deep rest. Picture two people sharing a quiet bench. One reads aloud from a small book. The other leans an elbow on the rail. The silence between them is not empty. It is a vessel in which grace can be poured. Boundaries belong to mercy too. A tender no protects the giver from becoming a vessel of depletion. Saying no can be an act of grace for both parties. It prevents future harm and keeps the giver able to offer kindness long term. Practice a gentle no when it appears needed. Do it with respect. Keep the posture of care, even when declining. Mercy is not exhausted by limits. It is preserved by them. The scriptures I read tonight also suggest an action for tomorrow. Choose one small kindness to offer without expectation. It may be a quiet compliment. It might be the clearing of a path. It could be sending a thought of prayer for someone who is unknown. Let the offering be ordinary and small. Notice how it lands without needing to measure the response. Let the giving be its own finishing line. Grace reshapes time. It turns waiting into tending. It converts fear into a softer patience. When forgiveness enters, it often makes room for new choices. A single unguarded moment can become a doorway to a different life. The transformation is rarely dramatic. It is a series of small, steady steps that together build a path away from the old loop. Before closing the Bible, take one more slow breath. Place the palm over the chest and feel the rise. Whisper, a silent acceptance. Such acceptance needs no performance. It is merely a receiving. Let the mind hold this phrase. Grace is present, even when change is small. Let this phrase be the last thing the ears carry into sleep. The book closes with a soft thud. The night around the room holds the words in place like a quilt. Rest is invited by the simple fact of being received. The gift of grace remains on the threshold, patient as a friend who waits. Tomorrow, the day will ask for small kindnesses. Tonight, the heart is allowed to begin. The next reading will arrive in its own time. With the same slow care, lie still, feel the weight of the blanket. Let the breath find the length it needs. Keep one image, a small wrapped gift on a porch, a key on a windowsill, a bird finding the air. Let that image be a soft companion. Sleep now under the quiet of grace. The gift rests beside the bed. It needs only to be held. The room dims. The page stays closed. The promise remains gentle and sure. I open the Bible and lay the page flat. The lamp makes a small pool of light. The room listens. The night keeps its hush. My voice comes low. I read a line that names a simple truth. Grace appears to offer salvation to all. The phrase rests between us, like a small gift. Grace is undeserved favor. It is a kindness that arrives without asking. It is not earned by work or weighed by merit. It is present even where the hands are empty. It rains softly and without partiality. The idea alone slows the pulse. Peace grows from that grace. Peace is not a prize. It is a settling. It is the quiet that follows the closing of a long door. The offering of grace opens a space where fear need not shout. In that space, the body can uncoil. I speak of peace in simple ways. Imagine a cloak put around the shoulders. The cloak is warm and heavy enough to be felt. It does not smother. It holds. The edges of worry lose their sharpness. The shoulders drop. That cloak is grace, doing the gentle work of peace. Another image comes, a lighted room on a cold night. Outside, wind moves the trees. Inside, a pot simmers and the chair by the window holds someone who is quiet. No repair is demanded. No history must be explained. The quiet itself is a witness that things may be mended slowly. That room is a small version of salvation's offering. Seeing grace is available to all changes, how peace arrives. If peace is only for those who pass tests, it becomes a bar of judgment. If peace is a gift for everyone, it can be received without proving worth. The shift loosens the chest. The ribs breathe easier. The heart learns a new posture. I guide the listening now. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Keep them open if not. Place a hand over the sternum. Feel its small rise and fall. Name a single anxious thought. Say it softly in the mind. Let the thought settle like a leaf on still water. Imagine a warm hand gathering the leaf without comment. The hand does not ask why the leaf is there. It simply takes it. This hand is not distant. It is near. It belongs to a presence that does not tally faults. It offers a welcome that is not conditional. Let that welcome press gently into the chest. Let the breath match it. Breathe in slow. Hold. Breathe out longer. Each out-breath loosens a thread. Peace also appears as permission. Permission to stop performing. Permission to be flawed and to be loved anyway. Permission to set down the need to prove worth. Permission is not an empty indulgence. It is a shelter. In that shelter, small repair work can begin. Think of a clock that has run too long without winding. The hands slow. The clock is placed on the windowsill. A soft wind moves through the room. A neighbor passes by and winds it without fuss. The clock resumes its rhythm. The restart is not flashy. It is gentle. The heart, like the clock, finds rhythm again. when helped without judgment. I draw attention to the universality of the gift. Grace has appeared to all. Imagine a street at dusk. Windows glow in many homes. Some light is dim, some is bright. In each home, someone sits with a small relief. The same favor reaches them. This is not a distant promise for a scattered few. It is a present offer to the whole neighborhood of humanity. The thought reduces loneliness. It shows connection. Peace does not erase pain. It does not claim wounds never happened. Peace changes the way pain lives with the person. A wound may still ache, but the ache no longer defines every waking hour. The ache becomes part of a larger room where other things can happen. Joy, rest, small hope, they fit in there too. The reading tonight asks for a small practice. Find a soft object within reach. A blanket corner is fine. A small cloth. Hold it in the hands. Close the fingers around it gently. Think of the word peace. Speak it inwardly. Let the syllable move through the jaw and down the neck. Feel the shoulders answer. Keep the hands steady. This simple shape of touch trains the body to accept gentleness. I also invite a tiny breathing pattern. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Make each count a slow step. Do this 4 times. Notice how the body replies. The muscles under the collarbones soften. The jaw relaxes. The eyes feel heavier. The nervous system learns that stillness is okay. Another way peace shows itself is through reconciliation. Reconciliation is not always repair between people. Sometimes it is repair inside the self. It is the making of a home in the chest where different parts can be honest. The child who feared, the adult who regrets, the quiet soul that hopes these can sit at the same table. They can speak without shouting. Grace makes the table possible. When reconciliation with another is possible, it may begin with one small act. A short message, a prepared cup left on a doorstep, a word that says, "I remember you." These acts do not demand the whole story. They offer a beginning. If reconciliation is not safe, peace still comes by setting a boundary. Boundaries protect the fragile process of repair. Peace also appears through trust. Trust can be thin at first. It grows under small, consistent expériences. Imagine a garden. Seeds take more than one season. They need sun, water, and patient tending. Trust works the same way. It does not require a sudden leap. It needs repeated small kindnesses to take root. I pause on the thought that grace surrounds every moment. It is like air, unseen, but present. Even in the smallest breath, grace is there. Even in the dull hours before sleep, grace sits beside the bed. This is not an abstract idea. It is a practical way to come home to rest, to practice the presence of grace. Try a short nightly habit. Name 3 small things that did not go wrong today. They may be ordinary. They may be trivial. Perhaps a kettle did not boil over. Perhaps a door closed gently. Perhaps a hand found a familiar hold. Speak each one inwardly. Let each be a reminder that grace moves in ordinary moments. 2. I speak now about mercy and truth, sitting together. Peace grows best when honesty is paired with kindness. Truth without mercy hardens. Mercy without truth drifts. The pages invite a balance that looks like a steady hand. The hand names what is real. Then it softens the sting with warmth. That balance holds long after the reading ends. Think of peace as a small hearth fire. It is not a roaring blaze. It is steady. It warms the bones without burning them. The fire takes fuel, gentle self-care. Small acts of forgiveness. The acceptance of help. Feed it with tiny things each day. Over time, the hearth makes a home. A kid caution helps. 2. Do not chase peace as if it were a distant prize. Chasing makes the heart tense and the peace recede. Instead, allow peace to find the openings already present. Notice when the jaw relaxes, when the foot stops tapping, when a single long exhale comes. These are small entrances. Walk through one of them now. When fear insists, answer with a simple image. Picture a small boat on a wide lake. The boat does not need to cross all at once. It needs to hold steady and follow the water. Let the oars rest. Let the current carry a little. Peace grows in the carrying. I also ask the listener to imagine grace appearing to those far from kindness. Picture faces not yet healed. Imagine the same friendly hand reaching for them. The idea softens judgment and expands mercy. It reminds that salvation's offer is wide. That span abridges division. There is a tender way to end tonight's reading. Place both hands on the knees. Feel the floor beneath the feet. Imagine a thin ribbon of light around the body. It is soft, like wool, and it hums very slowly. The ribbon is grace. Let it settle around the chest, like the cloak from earlier. Breathe into that space. The shoulders release a notch. One last small practice before the light dims. Think of one small person to hold in prayer. It may be yourself. It may be someone you barely know. Send a short wish. May you be held. Keep the words quiet. The wish is a kind of blessing that requires no eloquence. I close the Bible now with care. The sound is soft. The lamp keeps its circle. The night remains wide. Peace has been named. The invitation stands. Accept the undeserved favor that has appeared. Let it fold around you like a warm blanket. I will come again to read. The next passage will come with the same hush. For now, rest here with the thought that grace offers salvation to all, and that peace lives in the space the gift opens. Lieg still. Breathe slowly. Allow the cloak of grace to hold the chest. Sleep in that quiet. The room watches with a small, steady light. The gift remains beside the bed. It asks only to be received. I open the Bible slowly and let the cover rest on my knees. The lamp makes a small pool of gold on the page. The room holds its breath. My voice stays low. I read to you as one friend reads to another before sleep. Tonight the words shape themselves around two simple invitations. One is the gift of a peace that is not of this world. The other is an invitation to bring everything that presses on the heart and place it somewhere safe. Jesus gives a peace unlike the kind that comes from solving a problem. It is a steady calm that will not be taken by the wind. It settles the places that worry has hollowed out. It is not a badge of success. It is a quiet staying power. I like to call it a peace that keeps watch. The sort of peace that can sit with a restless mind and simply be present. A line from the letters of the early church gently asks people to cast all their cares where they will be held. The sentence is plain. It says, bring every anxious thing. Lay it down. Someone cares enough to gather it up. Imagine that instruction as a path lined with lamps. Each lamp shows a small step. Each step is a willing offering of one small worry. You do not have to carry them all at once. I begin by inviting a small practice. If you have a cloth, hold it. If you have a small object, touch it. If nothing is near, let your hands rest lightly on your thighs. Feel the breath. Name one single thing that tugs at the heart right now. A short name will do. Keep it to one thought. This is not the time to sort every layer. Choose the most pressing thing and make it the one to be set down tonight. I ask you to imagine a coat rack in a small, quiet room. Each anxious thing is like a coat you have worn for too long. The coat is heavy and dripping. It is warm in the wrong way. Walk to the rack in your mind. Hang the coat on a peg. Hear its weight slide into place. The shoulders relax. The chest becomes a little lighter. The coat remains on the peg. It is not forgotten. It is simply held somewhere else for a while. There is no shame in carrying a heavy coat. The pages I read remind us that the care to be cast includes the small daily anxieties and the deep long ones. There is a space for both. The invitation is wide. Nothing is too small, and nothing is too large. The presence that accepts these cares knows how to hold them without flinching. Now breathe with me. Inhale, slow and quiet. Imagine gathering the worry into a small parcel. With that inhale, hold it there only a moment. Exhale and picture placing the parcel onto the peg. Feel the hands empty a little. Repeat this 3 times. Each time, the parcel looks a little less urgent. The shoulders sit easier. The jaw unclenches. If an image of a coat is awkward for you, think instead of a small wooden mailbox at the edge of a garden. Each worry is a folded note. Walk to the box. Slide the note through the slit. Close the lid. Leave the box unlocked. The box will not be opened by curious strangers. It is meant for safekeeping. It keeps the letters from rattling in your pocket all night. I understand that some cares are like suitcases with hard locks. They do not release with a single breath. One night will not empty the suitcase. That is okay. The invitation I read is not a demand for instant repair. It is a steady command to begin. Begin with one item from the suitcase. Place it into the mailbox. Close the lid. Leave the rest for tomorrow. There is also a gentler image I like. Picture a small flock of paper birds. Each bird holds a worry written on its wing. Set the bird on a windowsill. Open the window. One bird at a time. The breeze catches a wing. The bird lifts and drifts beyond sight. You will not see them all flown away tonight, but you watch one leave, and that watching becomes proof that release is possible. Casting cares is not avoidance. It is an act of trust. It says that some hands can be trusted to hold what we cannot, right now. The offer to carry our anxieties does not make them unreal. It simply changes where they rest. The mind learns by experience that a care can be moved and not disappear forever. Moving it is enough to sleep. I name aloud a truth that often helps in the dark. Peace that is not of this world does not depend on immediate change. It comes before circumstances settle. It arrives in the middle of uncertainty. Imagine a lantern set on a small table while a storm rages outside. The lantern does not stop the storm. It does not change the trees. It lights the tabletop. That light is enough to fold a blanket over a lap and to let breath slow. There is an honest tenderness in the invitation from Peter. It does not mock the anxious. It addresses them with a simple option: bring them here. The letter assumes that some worries feel too heavy to carry alone. It assumes we have need of help. That assumption is not an insult. It is a recognition. The one who invites has hands ready. If you are someone who wakes with the same worry, night after night, try this small ritual. Keep a small bowl by the bed. When a worry rises in the night, take a moment, whisper its name into the bowl. Do not say more than the name itself. Let the bowl be your witness. In the morning, look at the bowl and carry the same name into the daylight. If the worry repeats, speak it gently and place it back in the bowl. Over time, the bowl becomes a teacher. It shows that each worry can be named and contained. I also offer a breathing pattern for heavier moments. Breathe in to the count of 3. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 5. On the out-breath, imagine a small ribbon sliding from your fingers and falling into a deep river. Watch the ribbon go. You might still feel the tug of the ribbon on the next breath. That is okay. Keep practicing the ribbon release. It will lengthen with repetition. Some cares come from fear that the future is unknown. The readings tonight help by reminding us of presence. The one who asks for our cares stands nearby. Picture a gentle lamp on a long path. The lamp brightens each step you choose to take. It does not reveal the whole road. It only shows the next safe step. Trust the lamp for one step. Then trust it for another. Casting cares includes small acts of kindness towards the body. If a worry sits like a knot in the throat, place the palm there. Rub softly in circles until the world feels a fraction less raw. If the shoulders are clenched, let the arms fall heavy. Imagine the tension unthreading itself. These small motions tell the nervous system that it is allowed to relax, even while the mind keeps watch. There is a caution, I must say. Casting cares is not a way to refuse help. If a worry is a symptom of danger or of harm, seek a safe person when you can. Let the bowl, the box, the birds and the lantern be companions to wisdom. Mercy calls for rest and for discernment both. Rest does not mean hiding. It means being honest about what you need and letting someone trustworthy hold it with you. I pause here and breathe with you. Inhale, feeling space at the ribs. Exhale, and let one small anxiety rest on a peg, in a box, or on a small paper bird. Notice how the room shifts by the width of a breath. Notice how the body replies to the permission you give it. The invitation to cast your cares is also an invitation to remember kindness toward yourself. When a worry persists, do not accuse the self for its staying. Speak to the worry like you would to a tired child. Keep your tone soft. Offer reassurance not because the worry deserves it, but because you do. You may wonder what happens to the cares you cast. I keep a simple picture for that. Imagine them as lights set at the edges of a field. They do not vanish. They glow in a new place, where the one who watches can see them clearly. The lights are tracked, not lost. They are visible to a presence that tends them. That presence does not need a ledger. It needs only faithful attention. This call to lay down anxieties comes with mercy. It does not promise that every night will be easy. It promises that help waits, and that a peace that does not belong to the world is near. The peace will not do all the work for you. It steadies hands so they can place the burden down. It keeps vigil while the body untangles itself. Before I close tonight, I invite you to choose one tiny thing to leave beside your bed. It may be a folded note. It may be a smooth pebble. Put it on the bedside table and tell it this single sentence in the heart. I leave this here for now. The act of leaving matters. It makes a boundary between the bed and the work. It says sleep has a place and worry has another. Breathe 3 slow times with me now. Inhale for 3. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. With the final out-breath, imagine yourself sitting with a small lantern on your lap. Let it glow. Let it be enough. Let the cares you carried rest near the lamp. They will not be abandoned. They will be watched. I close the Bible gently. The lamp dims by a notch. The room keeps a low, steady presence. The invitation to cast your cares stands open. You may visit it tonight or tomorrow. The offer of a peace, not of this world, waits like a friend on the porch, ready to sit in silence beside you. Rest now. Let the breath find its length. Let the small rituals you have practiced soothe the body. Sleep in that watchful calm. I will read again and meet you in that same hush. I open the Bible and let the page breathe. The lamp draws a small circle of light. The rest of the room slips into a soft hush. I sit with you and remember a simple story I heard long ago. It has no grand drama. It has small moments that feel like hands placed on a weary shoulder. I begin the story like this in my voice. A child walks at dusk along an old path. The path runs beside low stone walls. The child carries a small satchel. Inside the satchel are pebbles. Each pebble has a name. Some are called fear. Some are called regret. Some are called the small, sharp things that keep the mouth from smiling. The child does not hurry. Night comes gently. A few lanterns glow on distant porches. The child thinks the walk will last forever. The shoulders feel heavy in the last light. The satchel pulls at the hips. The child wonders how to keep walking with so much weight. On the path there is a small wooden bench. It sits beneath an old apple tree. The bench is plain. It is exactly where someone who needs rest would stop. The child sits. The satchel is opened. A pebble slips into the palm. The pebble is cold. It is familiar. The child breathes slowly and names it inside. not with long words, but with a soft single sound. A woman passes by with a lantern in her hand. She notices the child on the bench. She does not ask why the satchel is so full. She does not decide the child is weak. She simply sits on the other end of the bench. The lantern light makes the lines of the path gentle. She brings no questions. She brings a small loaf wrapped in cloth. She places it on her lap. The act is quiet. The child holds the pebble. For a moment the pebble feels unbearable. Then the woman extends her hand, not to take, but to receive. The hand is steady. It does not pry. The child places the pebble into the woman's palm. The pebble does not vanish. It sits there and is noticed. The hand keeps it safe. The child feels a first loosening in the chest. This is the heart of the story. Mercy comes as a hand that receives. It is not a clever solution. It is not a correction. It is a steady holding. The hand tells the child, without words, that carrying is not the only way. The child learns that the satchel can be opened and some pebbles can be set down. The child spends several nights at that bench. Each night, a pebble goes into the woman's palm. Some nights, only one pebble. Other nights, two. Sometimes none. The woman never counts. She only keeps what she is given. Slowly the satchel grows lighter. The walk home does not feel as long. One morning the child wakes and notices that the satchel lies empty. The pebbles remain where they were placed. They are not lost. They are kept in a small wooden box beneath the bench. The child learns that there is a place for what the heart cannot hold. The place is not far away. It is only the length of a lantern-lit walk. The child feels a new courage to return to the path. This story is not about a one-time cure. It is about a practice. The child does not throw all the pebbles into a river at once. The child carries one small hope at a time and passes it along to a hand that listens. The lesson is steady and ordinary. It is the kind of lesson that fits into the creases of the day. When I read this story aloud, I invite you to imagine sitting on that bench. Feel the wood beneath the thighs. Hear a small breeze shimmy through leaves. The lantern nearby hums a steady, quiet light. In that light, the most difficult thing is named, but not shouted. It is given a resting place. I remember another small part of the tale. Once, an old man comes to the bench and watches for a while. He does not speak. He simply remembers some pebbles of his own. He reaches into his pocket and sets a smooth, flat stone beside the child. The stone is not a solution. It is a memory that someone else also carries. The two stones, side by side, change in feeling. Shared burdens shift shape. They do not vanish, but they are reframed into the company of those who will hold them. The story teaches that faith often looks like simple company. Faith does not always start with a loud sermon. It starts with another person who keeps watch, who places a loaf on a lap, who receives without tally. That receiving is a tender act. It changes the way the next step is taken. I do not tell this story to solve every fear. I tell it to give a small practice. Tonight, imagine a bench near you. Picture a small box beneath it. The box will not be a magic eraser. It will be a place to leave one pebble for a time. Choose one pebble now. It need not be the largest. Choose the one that feels most pressing tonight. Hold it gently. Notice its edges. Do not press the memory into a story. Name it with a quiet phrase. Set the pebble in your hand and breathe. Inhale a slow count. Hold briefly. Exhale and place the pebble into the imagined hand on the bench or into the small box beneath it. Feel the weight move. Feel the shoulders ease. If only by a fraction, this small act becomes a nightly habit. The satchel does not empty overnight. The bench is visited again and again. Each night a pebble rests in the same box until the hands that hold it are ready. Over time, the pathway feels kinder. The child in the story learns to walk and to pause. The walk is gentler because pause is allowed. There is a soft link in this tale to the one we read together. The hand that receives in the story is like the presence that watches in Scripture. The invitation we heard earlier is simple: bring what you cannot hold. The story makes that invitation human-sized. It shows mercy as a hand on a bench at dusk. If it helps, try a small variation. Place a bowl by your bedside. When a worry rises, imagine picking a pebble and laying it in the bowl. Say its name silently. Close the eyes and breathe toward the bowl. Leave the bowl on the nightstand. It will keep company with you. The bowl does not judge. It quietly holds what you leave. The child in the story also learns about returning. A pebble placed away does not mean never thinking of it again. It means visiting the pebble with care. It means sometimes taking it back out, arranging it, talking to it, and then returning it. Healing can look like that, visiting and arranging rather than wrestling at once. Faith, in this gentle tale, is not a tall ladder to be climbed. It is a path with benches. The path is made of small steps and small trusts. Every night that a pebble is set down, the child rehearses trust. Trust grows in the doing. It is like a muscle. Use it gently and often. Before the story ends, a night comes when the child does not take a pebble from the satchel at all. The satchel feels lighter by habit and by work. The child sits on the bench and eats a slice of the woman's bread. The taste is simple. The warmth of the lantern feels like a hand on the back. The child understands that rest and grace can be ordinary. This understanding is not a demand for perfection. It is an opening. The child still trips sometimes. The satchel sometimes fills again. But the child now knows a place to go. The path is not traveled alone. The bench and the lantern are there. The one who receives waits without tally. I close the story with a quiet invitation. Choose one pebble to leave tonight. Place it in the imagined box beneath the bench. Allow the shoulders to soften. Let the breath lengthen. Practice the small ritual again tomorrow if needed. The practice is a gentle friend. Now take 3 slow breaths with me. Inhale and imagine the pebble in your palm. Hold, feeling the slight weight. Exhale and place it down in the small box beneath the bench. Breathe in again and notice how the chest moves. Exhale and allow the jaw to unclench. One more time, inhale. Hold. Exhale slowly. Let the body follow the breath. I lay the Bible closed across the knees. The lamp keeps its circle of glow. The story rests on the thin hush between pages. Mercy sits like a small lantern on the path. The invitation stands come when tired, and set down one pebble. Rest will come not as an immediate fix, but as a steady presence that watches. There is a purpose in ending here. The story gives a practice you can carry into sleep. It gives a picture to return to if the night stirs again. The bench waits. The hand receives. The box keeps what you cannot hold right now. When the room grows quiet and the breath lengthens, let the last thought be simple. I can leave one thing by the bench tonight. Let that small permission be enough. I will come again to read. For now, rest with the story in the room and the lamp still glowing. Sleep in that company. I open the Bible and let the leather settle on my knee. The lamp makes a gentle pool of light on the page. The room holds its consonant hush. I read slowly, not to teach, but to be company. Tonight the phrase that comes to me is simple. God is a refuge and strength. Always near when trouble comes. I do not say it like a lesson. I let it lie beside us like a warm stone. Refuge means a safe place to rest a tired head. Strength means the steady hands that help a body stand again. Both words sit together. Like two close friends who will not leave. Imagine a small room carved into a hillside. The walls are cool and close. Inside, the air does not rush. There is room to lower the shoulders. The wind pounds the rocks outside, but the room holds. That holding is the kind of presence I speak of. The presence of God is not a distant idea. It is close. It is the quiet that fills a long silence. It is the steady footstep that matches the pace of a slow walk. Think of a lighthouse on a foggy shore. The beam does not stop the fog. It simply keeps a line for the ship to follow. The ship does not need clear sky to find the way. It needs the light. In this night, the same steady light is near. Strength often looks like small things. A hand that takes one bag so the arms can rest. A voice that says, "We will walk together." The help that appears is not always a grand rescue. It is a hand on the back in the middle of a long hill. It is a blanket offered without a question. When life feels heavy, the presence that aids is patient and real. It gives enough for the next step. I invite a practice now. Place a hand on the chest. Feel the slow drum of the heart. That rhythm is near and true. Imagine the pulse as a tiny lamp under the ribs. It is steady. Let the mind quiet around the beating. Each slow breath is a correspondence to a faithful presence. Match breath to heartbeat. Breathe in for 3. Hold for a beat. Breathe out for 5. Do this 3 times. The body answers. The chest softens. The idea of help becomes tactile. There is comfort in imagining a shelter that is not far away. Picture a doorway with a small porch. The porch has a single lamp. The path to it is lit by small stones. Each stone represents a small mercy you have been given before. Look at those stones. Know that the path is already walked by many. The presence that waits beyond the doorway knows every name. It is not surprised by how late you come. Presence also acts like an anchor. When the sea is rough, an anchor keeps a boat near to safety. The anchor does not stop the waves. It simply prevents the drift. Let that image hold a quiet anchor in you. You need not catch every wind. You need only rest on the line that keeps you steady. The presence offers that line. It will not be pulled away. If the mind resists images, try listening instead. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Notice the tiny sounds around the room. A clock. A distant car. The settling of the house. Place the word presence into each sound. Let the sound be a reminder that someone watches without hurry. Presence can be a listening ear as much as a helping hand. The psalm that inspired this thought puts refuge and strength close to each other. Strength that is also refuge changes how fear speaks. Fear speaks loudly when the body feels alone. When a steady presence is near, fear becomes a smaller voice. It still exists, but it no longer runs the room. The heart keeps a measured beat, even when the mind spins. I tell a short, quiet memory. Once, in a long season of worry, a neighbor left a small lantern on the step. No words were attached. The light stayed all evening until the next morning. That small, thoughtful act did not erase the worry. It made the night less empty. The feeling of presence can be exactly like that lantern. No explanation needed. The light simply sits where hands can find it. There is a kind of help that is practical. If the throat tightens, place a palm there and rub slow circles. If the shoulders clench, let the arms drop and rest heavy at the sides for a minute. Small motions teach the nervous system that safety is possible. Presence often comes through these tiny acts. God's help is not only metaphoric, it can be felt in the settling of muscles and the lowering of the jaw. For those who have lived with pain for a long while, this reassurance may sound too gentle to trust. Trust grows in the doing. Begin small. Choose one small weight to hand over tonight. Name it in a word or two. Hold it in the mind. Take one slow breath and imagine placing it into a larger palm of light. Do not expect sudden change. Expect that the hand will hold it and that the back will be free to unbend a little. Presence keeps company with both sorrow and thanks. It does not require a heart full of gratitude to be present. Sometimes the gift is simply that someone sits beside sorrow without trying to fix it. Imagine a low stool at the edge of your trouble. A silent companion sits there. No lecture. No plan. Only watching. The watching itself is a kind of strength. It lets time do its gentle work. There is also a steady hope in the promise that trouble will not last forever. Hope here is not a loud prediction. It is an expectation shaped by small experiences, mornings that follow nights. Thaw after frost. A smile that returns like a shy bird. The presence that keeps watch did not make those mornings vanish. It walks with the night and with the dawn. Remember one small morning when the light changed something inside. Let that memory be proof that new light comes again. I offer another short exercise for the hands. Lay them palms up on the lap. Imagine the palms as small bowls. Into those bowls, place one small worry or one small longing. Do not gather the whole list. Choose one. Hold it there and breathe. Picture a soft hand reaching toward the bowl and picking up what you have placed. The hand does not judge. It only takes what you put down. the relief will be small. Let it be enough. Presence sometimes arrives in a pattern of small mercies. They show up as repeated rhythms, a friend who rings twice, a neighbor who checks the mail, an email that says, "Simply thinking of you." The presence that never fails often works through others. Let yourself notice those rhythms. They are threads of the same garment of care. Strength that is refuge means you can lean without being ruined. You can put the weight down for a time. That act of leaning is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of reality. Bodies have limits. Soothe hearts. The presence that holds does not shame those limits. It knows them and meets them with adaptive compassion. If sleep is hard to find, try making a short list of 3 simple things that are true in this hour. A small list trains the mind away from the big looping questions. For example, the lamp is warm. The blankets are soft. The breath is steady. Repeat them slowly. Let each truth be a stepping stone toward rest. There are moments when presence feels like an ancient tree. Its roots are very deep. A person can lean against its trunk and feel supported. The tree does not hurry growth. It does not demand immediate change. It simply gives a place to rest. Imagine leaning your back against that trunk tonight. Feel how the spine aligns without effort. Let the image be as literal as needed. I know some nights bring fierce storms of fear. In such a night, do not expect bravery at once. Allow one small action light a small lamp. Set a glass of water beside the bed. Stretch the legs once and let them fall heavy. These are not cures. They are signals to the body that care is happening. Presence often begins with these small, deliberate acts. A final practice I suggest is a naming of presence. Silently name. The thought here is a watching hand. Here is steady care. The words do not have to be poetic. They can be plain, and plain is often enough. Speak them inwardly, as one might tell a child help is near. Rest is allowed. The mind will resist sometimes. Speak the phrase again, softly, and return to breath. I close the page in the Bible with gentle care. The lamp stays lit, but it is not bright. The room keeps its slow glow. The thought that God is a refuge and strength rests like a small clasp around the heart. It does not erase what is hard. It steadies the hands so that burdens can be placed down for a while. Before sleep, take one last slow breath with me. Inhale for 3. Hold a beat. Exhale for 5. Let the exhale be a letting go. Feel the shoulders unroll. Let the jaw soften. Imagine that steady hand taking a small thing you cannot carry tonight. Know that the hand is neither distant nor indifferent. It is close and constant. I will come and read again in this same quiet. For now, close the eyes if that is safe. Let the lamp at the bedside be the small lighthouse for this night. Rest in the knowledge that help is ever near. Sleep under that steady presence. Let mercy keep watch until morning. I open the Bible and let the page rest in the lamplight. I find the passage where Jesus comes among the crowd. He looks and feels. The word used there is gentle and sharp, at once compassion. It is not a distant sentiment. It is a movement toward what is tired and scattered. He sees people who are wandering, unsure of the way. The image is spare. No great fanfare, just eyes that notice. That noticing is itself an action. He does not first give a speech about what they did wrong. He simply sees. The sight changes everything. The pressure eases when someone sees the shape of what hurts. I read this because seeing comes before healing. I place the book on my lap and let the sentence settle. The room is quiet. The lamp draws a little ring of light. In that circle, the familiar world simplifies. A face appears in the mind. Maybe it is your face. Maybe it is mine. The idea is the same, a gaze that says you are seen. Compassion. Here. Looks like a hand that leans in. It looks like a presence that stays long enough to listen. It takes the time to name the small things, the hunger, the confusion, the loneliness that hides under busyness. The act of attention is not theatrical, it is plain and patient. It touches what is ordinary and keeps it holy by simply holding it. I also notice that his compassion leads him to teach. Teaching is not a harsh lecture. It is gentle instruction that fits into the life of a tired listener. When words arrive from a caring mouth, they act like soft food. They do not demand heavy chewing. They nourish slowly. Picture a thin stew offered at dusk. It warms the stomach and steadies the hands. Learning with care is like that. The passage implies a shepherd's watching, but not in a way that makes people small. Instead, it treats them as human beings who need clear paths and kind direction. The compassion sees the whole person. It meets the body as well as the thinking mind. A stomach that is empty is not dismissed. A heart that is heavy is not patronized. Both are taken into account. I invite a moment of stillness now. Place a hand over the place your breath alters the most. Feel the soft rise and fall in the quiet of the breath. Imagine the gaze of compassion coming to rest there. It does not question why the breath is short. It simply enters the same room and keeps still. Allow that presence to be not abstract but felt. Let it be a warmth that settles under the ribs. There is a simple practice worth keeping for tonight. Choose one small need. Name it in a single soft word in the mind. It could be rest. It could be clarity. It could be a tired body part that holds tension. With the next breath, imagine offering that single word into the open palm of the presence you are picturing. Do not expect the whole weight to leave. Let the offering be the first lightening. The body responds even to one small handing over. Compassion in the story does one more subtle thing. It brings order when a person is seen and taught. Pieces that were scattered begin to sit together. A list that felt endless condenses to a few manageable steps. A fierce question that repeated itself like a broken record loses its demand for immediate answer. The calm that follows is not dramatic. It is simply a kind of arrangement in the mind, like books straightened on a shelf. It is quiet work. It is like tidying a small room by candlelight. The task is not to sweep away the past. The task is to make a path through what is present, so that a next step can be taken without slipping. Imagine a narrow hallway cleared enough to walk through. The path is not wide. It is safe. Walk one step there. Later, another step will be visible. I speak as one who reads the Bible at the end of a day. The way these words come to me is practiced and plain. I do not try to turn heavy doctrines into light sayings. I read what I can carry gently. When Jesus felt compassion, he acted with the immediacy of someone who knows hands are needed now. He teaches, and the teaching sits with those who are listening like a warm filter through which worry can pass and become less raw. Another small action that compassion does is to gather when a body and a mind feel separated by dread. A gathering mends that split. People in the story sit and receive. There is no demand for a brilliant answer. The posture is simply to be together until enough calm gathers to carry a thought forward. Imagine a circle of low stools. Each stool holds a small light. The lights together make a soft room. You can sit there without proving anything. Tonight, practice being in that circle, even if only in imagination. Picture a low stool beside you and set your hand upon it. Think of one small thing that feels scattered. Put it on the stool and let the light warm it. Watch how the edges of the worry soften. The habit of setting one thing down each night trains the heart to trust that care can be held outside of oneself. Compassion often returns in action. There is a quiet rhythm in the story. Seeing is followed by teaching. Teaching is followed by sustained presence. The pattern is patient. It repeats. Try to remember one small lesson from this. Perhaps that being seen changes the energy of a room more than an argument does. The lesson feels humble. It is a steady kind of rescue. There is a tenderness in remembering how ordinary people respond to being noticed. A soft word, a steady look, a hand that waits to receive what is offered. These small exchanges rebuild confidence slowly. They are not grand gestures. They are repairs done with thread and patience. They are the stitch that keeps daily life from falling apart. Consider allowing one such stitch tonight. Speak to yourself gently inwardly. Offer a brief, compassionate phrase like a soft seam. If difficulty rises in the night, try a short, physical cue to remind the body of that seeing. Press the fingers lightly against the inner wrist. Feel the pulse beneath. Imagine the pulse is echoing the steady attention you have pictured. Each little beat says you are noticed now. Each beat is a simple witness. Keep this small ritual as a tool to return to when the mind wanders toward heavier loops. I also ask that safety be honored. Compassion does not remove the need for wise boundaries. Sometimes being noticed means placing a limit where love must protect the self. The presence that sees will not insist on dissolving walls that are needed for protection. Instead, it offers help and waits while discernment does its careful work. The two, gentle attention and prudent protection, fit together like a hand and a glove. When the night feels long and the mind presses questions you cannot answer, place one of them in the lamplight like a note. Fold it small. Keep it beside the bed. Return to it in the morning if needed. This small act of containment keeps the night from becoming a place of heavy sorting. It is enough to give one question a place to stay for a season. The passage also invites a trust in teaching that grows quietly. The words that come from a kind teacher are not a fixed set of instructions. They are a map that allows wandering and return. Imagine the map is hand-drawn and foldable. It is not exact. It shows the way to a nearby spring, a shelter, a field of rest. Walk toward one marker on that map tonight. Do not try to cover it all. The map's utility is felt one step at a time. There is a small practice for the mind when it wants to argue or bargain. When a thought rises that says you must fix this now, answer with a gentle image. Picture a slow, shallow river. Place the thought on a flat stone at the bank. Watch it. Sit there. The stone will remain. The river will flow. The thought is seen but does not command the current. This separation gives room for breath and a soft recalibration. Compassion often reaches the smallest need first. A tired hand wants a rest. A troubled eye wants a soft sight. When those small things are attended to, larger worries lose the urgency that made them feel endless. Make a tiny practical choice tonight that tends a small need. Stretch the feet. Pour a cool glass of water. Smooth the blanket. These are acts of mercy for a body that has been carrying weight. As I close the page, let me set one clear invitation before sleep. Name one small care and imagine placing it before the presence that notices. Keep the act modest. Breathe and feel the slight easing in the chest. Let the breath practice be slow. Inhale for 3. Hold. Exhale for 5. Repeat twice more. On the final exhale, imagine the care resting in a palm that does not tally faults. Let the body accept a brief release. I will keep returning to this habit of reading and quiet practice. The goal is not to fix everything at once. The goal is to make the nights kinder and to learn how to be seen without having to perform compassion. As the passage shows, is patient and practical. It notices, it steadies, it teaches, it stays. Close the book gently, if that feels right. Let the lamp keep its glow. Carry the picture of a calm gaze with you into the dark. Sleep with the knowledge that someone notices the small shape of what aches. Rest in that watching. Trust that a steady kindness is present. And that one tiny handing over can be enough for tonight. I open the Bible and let the leather settle on my knee. The lamp throws a calm circle of light across the page. The house breathes quietly around us. I breathe with you. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Let the shoulders loosen just a little. The page is warm under the fingers. Tonight I read a thought from Hebrews. The sentence sits simple and steady. There remains a rest for the people of God. I do not use the line as an argument. I say it like a door left unlocked for someone who is tired. That invitation matters more than any proof. Rest is not a single event. It is a condition that finds its way into small moments. The promise of rest is like a bench beside a road. It does not run after the walker. It waits where feet grow weary. The bench is not far away. It stands where a pause fits best. Listen to the sense of the promise. It means there is a place where labor need not prove its worth. There is a place where doing is not the measure of belonging. The sentence in Hebrews gives permission to stop striving for a while. It gives a name to a shelter that has already been prepared. I picture a house with a wide entry. Shoes are left on the mat. A coat hangs unattended. Inside, the air has been made mild by someone who expected a guest. The guest might be late. The host already set a kettle on the stove. This is how a promise of rest often arrives. The preparation is quietly faithful. It does not wait for perfect arrival. There is a simple way to practice the promise tonight. Place a hand over the chest and feel the rise and fall. Choose one small thing that presses there. It may be a worry about tomorrow. It may be a tired ache that keeps returning. Name it in a single word in the mind. Then say this sentence inwardly. There is rest for me here. Say it once. Let the words simply sit with the breath. Do not spin them into explanations. The text from Hebrews suggests not only a future rest, but a present access. The rest remains. It is not conditional on having everything in order. It is not a prize for the industrious alone. The promise includes the slow ones and the hurried ones, the careful and the clumsy. It is wide enough to hold scattered thoughts and small hands. Consider harbor er dusk. Boats come in with bobbing lights. Some are full of fish. Some are empty. All find shelter in the same quiet bay. The harbor does not ask for a tally. It only offers protection. The promise of rest is like that bay. It receives without an inventory. The way into that rest often asks for a simple stop. The body learns it first. Try this now. Sit up just enough so the spine is comfortable. Let the jaws soften. Breathe and count gently. Inhale for 3. Hold 1. Exhale for 5. Each out-breath is a small laying down. With every exhale, imagine setting a burden on a surface near the heart. Do not throw the burden away. Place it. Notice how the shoulders release a notch. Rest sometimes arrives when the mind is given a small rule. The rule is not a heavy command. It is a refuge phrase that the ears can hold during the storm. Pick a phrase that fits tonight. A short line like this remains. Or come and rest. Repeat it silently as the breath moves. The phrase is not a cure. It is a gentle landing pad for wandering thoughts. There is also comfort in the idea that rest is promised, not merely hoped for. A promise implies memory and faithfulness. Imagine a line of lamps stretching up a hill. Each lamp is a promise kept along the way. One lamp is lit for tonight. The next will be lit tomorrow. The chain is steady. It gives a pattern to trust. If work has been the way of staying safe, the invitation to rest can feel risky. The mind might protest that stopping is careless. That reaction is expected. The practice is to notice the protest without answering it right away. Place the protest on the same table and keep breathing. Let it be present, but not commanding. There is a tender rhythm to entering rest, a rhythm of ceasing and receiving. Ceasing does not mean giving up moral effort. It means setting down the constant self-policing for a season. Receiving is a quiet act. Receive a promise like catching a small bird. Hold it gently in an open hand and let it warm the palm. The bird will not be coerced into stillness. It rests because it is allowed when rest is promised. Mercy is implicit. Someone has prepared the place to receive the tired. Think of a parent who cleans the kitchen, lights a lamp, and says nothing more. The room is patient. This is mercy that does not demand justification. The promise of rest carries that same mercy within it. The invitation is not a test. It is a shelter. Tonight, I offer a short exercise that grows out of this promise. Find a small object within reach. A coin, a pebble. A folded corner of cloth will do. Hold it in the palm. Let its texture be close. On the inhale, imagine drawing the nearest worry into that object. Do this one time only. On the exhale, place the object on the table beside the lamp. Say inwardly, this remains. Leave the object there with the lamp's light. The placement is symbolic and soft. It trains a muscle in the chest that knows how to hand things over. There is a steadying effect when promises are named out loud. Even softly, the voice anchors the thought. The ear remembers what the mouth says. Speak this promise quietly. If that feels safe, there remains a rest. Let the syllables fall like small stones into calm water. The ripples will not trouble the shore. Rest also helps one see things differently. When eyes are tired from worry, the mind tends to enlarge problems. Rest narrows the field. It allows a focus on what is immediate and manageable. A long list becomes steps. The way forward becomes a series of small motions. The first step need not solve the whole path. It only makes the next step visible. I keep in mind a gentle picture that fits tonight's chapter. A field lies under a low sky. A soft wind moves the tall grass. Someone lies on a blanket and watches the slow clouds. There is no requirement to catalogue every cloud shape. Presence in the field is enough. The body that watches learns to store quiet memories like small lanterns. They light the room later. Promises are often sealed in ordinary acts. A neighbor bringing an extra blanket. A friend staying a little longer. A small message that reads like a whisper, I am thinking of you. These acts contain the same spirit as the promise in Hebrews. They are the human echo of an offered rest. Notice them as they come. Let them be proof that the promise is lived in small, faithful ways. If the heart resists, sleep because of unfinished things. Set a brief plan for tomorrow. Write one small item on a scrap of paper. Fold it and put it beside the table lamp. The act is practical and calm. It moves the unfinished into a container where the night need not argue with it. Close the eyes and allow the breath to carry the rest. There is also mercy for those who fear that rest will make them idle. Rest is not idleness. It is a preparation. It is a plant's rest in winter that makes spring possible. Trusting the promise is like tending soil. The season of quiet is not wasted. It is where growth is born again. For those who keep vigil for others, the promise extends to caregiving hands too. Rest is not a selfish act. It is a preservation that keeps hands steady for the next day's work. Think of a lamp that peters out if never refilled. Rest is the oil that keeps the flame. Take a moment to oil the lamp tonight with a small kindness to the self. That kindness might be a warm drink, a brief prayer, or simply the closing of a heavy eyelid. I read the page slowly again. The words about rest do not hurry. They allow space. The breath in the room lengthens. The lamp softens the borders of the furniture. The body eases into the shape of the bed. Muscles that fought the day notice the invitation. As the reading comes to a close, keep one steady image in the mind. Picture a small room that has been readied, a bed made, a lamp lit, a curtain slightly drawn, The promise of Hebrews rests in that room like a warm presence. Enter the room by way of the breath. Walk to the bed. Sit down without audition. Lay the burdens near the window. Know they are watched. I will suggest one more short practice before the lamp dims. Take 3 deep breaths with me. Inhale slowly for 3 counts. Hold the breath for a moment. Exhale gently for 5 counts. On the final exhale, imagine stepping across a threshold into a place where rest remains. Feel the floor steady beneath the feet. Allow the shoulders to drop. Tonight's reading ends with a quiet assurance. There remains a rest. The promise is not small. It is broad enough for many nights and many hearts. It will find its way into the small rituals of waking and sleeping. It will meet the practice of bringing one thing to a table and setting it down. The Bible closes with a soft sound. The lamp is lowered by 1 notch. The room keeps a thin circle of warmth. There is intention in the hush. Rest is offered like a hand extended. Take it if that feels safe. If not yet safe, come back tomorrow. The bench of the promise waits without tally. Lie still for a moment. Feel the breath and the light. Let the last thought be simple. There remains a rest. Let that phrase be a small anchor in the chest. Sleep in the knowledge that promises keep. The night is not empty. It holds what has been laid down. I will return to the light and the page. For now, rest where the promise stands. I open the Bible and rest it on my knees. The leather is warm from my hands. The lamp makes a small circle on the page. The room holds its hush. I speak slowly, as one friend reads by a bedside lamp. Tonight, the line that comes to us is like a soft bell. Give thanks in all circumstances. I do not press the words. I let them rest beside the breath. Gratitude is not a command to feel happy on demand. It is a way of looking. It becomes a gentle lens that changes the shape of what is already there. The breath stays the same. The heart learns a new route to notice. The practice is simple. The practice is kind. Begin with a small image. Picture a low table by the bed. On it sits a little bowl. Each night, a single pebble is placed in that bowl. A pebble for one good thing. The thing need not be large. A warm cup, a guaides dip, a name remembered. The pebble is not payment. It is a marker. Over weeks, the bowl gathers a quiet weight of evidence, things that are true, even in the middle of hard hours. I say the phrase again, but softer this time. Give thanks in all circumstances. The phrase includes the hard ones. It does not ask to pretend that pain is not present. Rather, it asks to bring both the pain and the small goods together into the same room. When sorrow is named, a small thank you might follow. The thanks will be small too. It might be a single breath said into the chest. The pairing does not erase the ache. It holds the ache with another thread. Try a short exercise with me. Place one hand over the sternum. Feel the steady rise and fall. Close the eyes if that is safe. Inhale slowly and name one tiny blessing. It can be one clear syllable in the mind. Perhaps the sound of rain earlier, or the kindness of a stranger, or the fact that the breath is present now. Exhale and let the name sit against the palm. Repeat twice more. No long least. One small truth each time. The body listens. The chest softens. Gratitude as a habit is like tending a small garden. The work is not dramatic. It is regular. A seed is not forced into bloom. It receives water, light, and patient attention. Each night's small, grateful breath is one watering, or time. Roots deepen. The garden does not become a display of perfect happiness. It becomes a patch of steady green that the eyes can rest on when clouds gather. I remember a neighbor who kept a jar on the kitchen sill. Every evening, she dropped a slip of paper into it, with one small sentence: today, a door held open. Or today a laugh returned. Months later, the jar moved like a slow witness through winter in a place of grey weather. The slips were tiny suns. There was nothing boastful in the collection. It was simply proof that light kept arriving. Proof can be gentle and private. Gratitude also trains the mind in honesty. It does not demand that joy outweigh sorrow. It only asks that the gaze broaden enough to see both. If a night is hard, name that. Then, in the same breath, if possible, name one small good. Perhaps the good is simply the warmth of a blanket, or the memory of a friend's voice that once steadied the steps. The two names together create a new kind of truth. Life holds pain and care together. There is a caution I offer, soft and clear. Gratitude should never be used to silence pain or to shame people who suffer. It is not a tidy solution. It is a companion when someone in the room grieves. The proper stance is presence first. A forced list of thank yous will not help. Instead, sit beside the sorrow. When the moment is right, a small thanksgiving might be welcome. Let patience decide the timing. The scriptures place gratitude not merely as a feeling but as a practice. Saying thanks shapes the posture of the heart. It moves it away from endless tallying of lacks and toward recognition of gifts already given. The act of thanks becomes a kind of rest. It turns the mind out of its repeated worry and toward a horizon with evidence of care. If the mind resists naming good things easily, begin with practical things. Name 3 ordinary items that function today: the bed that held the body, a light that guided a step, a kettle that brought warmth. These are not grand. They are faithful. The small catalogue trains the ear. The ear becomes attuned to kindness in action rather than to spectacular signs only. Another practice is the evening review. Before sleep, let the eyes close and the memory pass like a shallow river. Let 3 moments drift by. Not explanations, just images. A hand passing a plate, a quiet laugh, a streetlight humming. Let each image be met with a soft phrase: thank you. The habit is meant to be tiny. It is meant to find a place in the small hours, when the mind often turns to its anxieties. Gratitude can also be offered toward the hard parts of life. This is delicate work. A way to try it is to name a lesson that pain has taught, perhaps greater patience, perhaps a deeper compassion for another. These are not trite reframings. They are careful observations that do not reduce the cost. Saying thank you for a lesson is not saying the wound was deserved. It is naming that the wound has yielded some new awareness. That awareness can hold the next breath a little steadier. Another quiet method is gratitude aloud, but soft. The voice does not need to be loud. A whisper to a pillow is enough. The words need not be elaborate. A single sentence, like "thank you for this calm," can be enough to anchor the night. Speaking draws the inner thought into the body, where the nervous system can register it. The body remembers the sound later, and the memory becomes a small refuge. I also recommend a small ritual for hands. Keep a smooth stone by the bedside. When a wave of thanks comes, rub the stone once and name the thing silently. When a wave of worry arrives, hold the same stone and breathe. The stone becomes a bridge between the two states. Over time, the hands learn that the stone is a place for movement, not a trap. Movement matters more than the perfection of feeling. Gratitude practiced in community deepens the gift. If the night is not solo, share one small, thankful phrase with the one near. No sermon, no proof, just a short sentence like "I am grateful for your presence tonight." The phrase will not fix everything. It will simply mean the other is seen and noticed. Such simple acknowledgments knit people back together. They do not erase difference. They make space. There is a tender theology in the smallness of thanks. It suggests that God notices the tiny acts of care we often ignore. The divine attention seems to prefer small, faithful things. A meal shared, a hand steadied, a blanket wrapped, these count. Saying a soft thank you for them tunes us into the rhythm of a love that attends quietly. This idea is not heavy or argumentative. It is a peaceable lens. If gratitude feels foreign or forced, begin with curiosity instead. Ask inwardly, what small thing felt different today? The question is not trying to make joy appear. It is creating a small doorway for noticing. Curiosity and gratitude often travel together. A curious eye finds goods. A grateful heart rests on them. Sometimes the hardest thing to be thankful for is another person who caused pain. In such cases, gratitude must be handled with care. It is not necessary to be thankful for the harm. Instead, a safer practice is to seek one small outcome that the experience eventually yielded, perhaps clarity about a boundary, or the realization of a needed change. Naming that is not the same as excusing harm. It is making room for learning without erasing the cost. I offer a final exercise to close this night. Place both hands lightly on the knees. Breathe in slowly for 3 counts. On the inhale, bring to mind a single small treasure from the day. Hold it only for a beat. On the exhale, offer a quiet thanks. Repeat twice more. Keep the movements gentle. Let the chest respond by relaxing a touch more each time. This short practice makes gratitude bodily, not merely cerebral. As the practice finishes, imagine the bowl on the bedside table. The pebbles inside do not clatter. They sit like small witnesses. One by one, the pebbles claim the nights. They show that, across seasons, goodness keeps appearing. When the mind races in the dark, reach for the image of that bowl. Let it be proof, soft as a hand. I close the Bible slowly. The leather meets the night with a soft sound. The lamp remains low. The thought to carry into sleep is simple. Give thanks in all circumstances. Let the phrase be a lullaby, not a command. Let it be a small song that the breath can hum. Rest now with that small song. Let gratitude sit beside mercy in the same room. They do not compete. They hold different parts of the heart together. Sleep in the quiet company of thankfulness. The next time I come to read, we will sit again at this lamp. For tonight, let the gentle practice of gratitude be the last thing the mind touches. Let it guide a slow step into rest. I close the book and let it rest for a moment. The room keeps a gentle hush. The breath between us slows. I lower my voice until it is almost a thread. I invite a short time of quiet. We will hold it together. We will keep it very simple. Place your hands where they feel most steady. A lap will do. A folded blanket will do. If the eyes close, let them close. If not, soften the gaze. The body is welcome to unfold in its own pace. The night answers with a patient silence. I begin with a single, slow breath. Inhale, hold, exhale. Let the breath set a small rhythm. The rhythm does not need to match anyone else. It only needs to be present. Feel the chest move. Feel the throat soften. Let the shoulders lower a fraction. Keep doing this as the words move. Tonight the prayer is an invitation. It is not a list of demands. It is not a plan. It is a quiet, asking for a gentle company to come and rest where we are. I invite Jesus to draw near in a way that feels safe to you. I ask that he find a simple place to stay inside the heart. Imagine a small inner room. The walls are plain. A chair waits. The presence we invite does not rearrange things unless we ask. It only comes to sit. I speak quietly now, as one who sits beside another in the dark. I offer words that are short and spare. If you prefer not to repeat them, sit in silence and hold the sense of them in the chest. Jesus, come and be close. Settle in the center of the heart like a careful guest. Remain where breath is slow. Rest with the tired places. Take no record. Offer hands that do not tally faults. Meet what is heavy with a softness that knows the weight and will not name it harshly. Bring a steady warmth to the places that feel like winter. Place a small light where the mind is foggy. Stay nearby through the moments when sleep is thin. Let the presence be a quiet companion to the watchful thoughts. If regret comes, meet it with mercy. If fear comes, meet it with calm. If loneliness sits in the room, let the company be real and unforced. If memory aches, let it be witnessed. The presence asked for is not distant or abstract. It is close enough to touch. If that feels safe, we ask for forgiveness in a gentle way. We do not require grand speeches of ourselves. We only bring a willingness to be honest and to receive kindness instead of judgment. Teach us how to let go a little. Teach us how to rest without shame. Teach us how to answer a sharp thought with a softer one. We ask also for a small courage, not the loud courage that moves mountains. A quiet courage that says, I will try again tomorrow. A courage that lifts one small hand to do what is needed. A courage that allows rest between the doing Help the heart take the next needed step, and then be content to wait for the next. Bless the body that carries so much. Bless the hands that work and the eyes that watch and the feet that have walked far. Let them know permission to slow. Grant tenderness to the skin and muscles that have been tense for too long. Let sleep be a healer, even when the mind is slow to follow. Be with those whose nights are lonelier than their days. Visit the ones who keep vigil for others. Sit with the tender parents, the nurses, the friends who do not leave. Give them a small supply of rest. Let kindness visit their rooms in ways they can receive. Let them feel less alone. We pray for those whose grief is fresh, and for those whose grief has been steady for years. Let a calm come that does not rush the work of sorrow. Let mercy walk with each memory, and help the edges to soften. If tears come, let them fall freely. If silence holds, let it be full rather than empty. Let both kinds of night be honored. Help us to be gentle with ourselves in the morning and in the night. Teach the hands to fold up shame slowly. Teach the mind to choose one thought to carry less tightly. Show us a kindness to give ourselves when we are tempted to blame or to hurry. Let that kindness be small enough to do tonight and sturdy enough to return to tomorrow. I ask for clarity that rests like a mapped path, not a full plan for a lifetime. One clear step for now. Show where to walk first and keep the next one hidden until the first can be taken. This soft pacing steadies the heart. It makes fear less loud. If anger comes, grand cooling. If bitterness forms, dilute it with a small memory of good. If confusion arrives, put a lamp near the question so the next move is visible. If hope feels distant, let a thin thread come through and connect to a small, believable thing, a friend's voice, a warm drink, the steadiness of the breath. Let hope grow from proofs we can feel. Bless the people who have been gentleness in our lives. Bless those who offered an unexpected hand, a quiet meal, a steady look. Keep them safe. Let the echo of their care stay with us through the night. Let their kindness be a place to rest in memory if the present is hard. We ask that love be patient with our pace. Let the presence that dwells not hurry the slow healing. Let it accept the time this work takes. Let it not be impatient with smallness. Great things often begin with small sights. Grant patience to the one who is learning to accept small change. I invite a moment of silence now. In that silence, hold one word or one small need. Say it inwardly. If that helps, place it there with the breath. I will wait the length of a few counts so the thought can be carried to the quiet company. Pause. Now, with the same soft breath, offer this one small wish. Let me sleep a little easier. Let peace attend my breath. Let mercy keep company with my doubts. Let gentle hope stay near. We thank for the smallest proofs of care. We give thanks for the hand that held a cup, for the word that arrived at the right hour, for the ease of a single comfortable minute. These small things matter. They build a refuge bit by bit. If any forgivable failures are held tonight, we bring them into the presence too. Let them be received without scorn. Let the heart practice gentleness toward the self. Let the work of repair begin softly, when it can, and not be forced. Ask for guidance on discernment, when to speak, and when to stay quiet, when to set a boundary, and when to open a door. Let wisdom be kind. Let decisions be shaped by mercy as well as truth. Protect the fragile parts in the process. Finally, I invite Jesus to dwell, not as a lecture or a list, to dwell as companion in the room of the heart, to sit near the breath and keep it steady, to be present in the ordinary like a steady hand on the shoulder, to make the night less stark and the morning less sharp. We close this small prayer with a soft breathing together. Inhale and feel a little calm settle in the body. Hold. Exhale and let a small relief come. Repeat 2 more times. Let the last exhale be a handing over. You may picture it as you prefer a folded note. A small seed, a brief placing into a steady palm. Whatever image helps. Let it carry what you do not wish to keep tonight. I will say a short blessing now, not in words that demand, but in the tone of a slow benediction. May mercy find you in the dark. May hope be a small fire at your feet. May compassion sit where the pulse is quick. May rest come as a friend who does not rush you. May love remain steady as a quiet house. We hold a final moment of stillness. Let the silence lengthen. Let the room receive what we have set down. When you are ready, close your eyes. If that brings calm, turn toward sleep without haste. Let the breath continue its slow work. I will close the Bible with care. The sound is soft. The page settles. The night keeps its wide hush. I remain here a moment longer at the edge of the light. The next reading will come in its own time. For now, rest in the presence invited. Allow the gentle company to dwell where you are. Keep one small phrase in the mind. As the eyes grow heavy, you are held. Let that phrase be enough for tonight. Let it be the anchor that the breath returns to in the dark. Sleep in that gentle keeping. Good night. I will meet you again in the same quiet place. I lay the Bible closed on my lap. The lamp keeps a small pool of light. The room listens. My voice is low. I offer one last blessing before the hush widens. This is a benediction for peaceful sleep. It is small and plain. It asks only for rest. Breathe with me once. Inhale slowly. Hold. Exhale long and soft. Let the shoulders drop. Let the jaw loosen. The breath makes a steady drum in the chest. Follow that rhythm now as I speak. May the peace of God, which surpasses understanding, guard your hearts and minds as you drift into peaceful slumber. Amen. Say the words as a tiny breath if it helps. Let them sit like a warm cloth over the chest. The phrase is not a demand. It is an invitation. It asks nothing from the night. It simply places a gentle promise near the ear. Imagine the peace as a quiet sentinel. The sentinel is not a harsh guard. It is a soft lamp on a low post. Its light does not blind. It keeps the edges of the room honest. Night can still be night. The lamp simply lets the next step be seen. The sentinel watches, not because trouble is invited, but because presence is faithful. Picture the heart as a small room with a single window. The window is open a slight crack. Moonlight moves across the floor. The mind is like the garden outside. Some things are tidy. Some things need tending. The peace folds itself over the window like a curtain that breathes. It does not shut the world away. It makes the light softer. It keeps the cold wind from coming too strong. If worry arrives, let it be noticed without arguing. Name it gently, one word or a short phrase. Place it on an imagined shelf in the small room. The shelf is already held by the sentinel's hands. Nothing will fall from that shelf in the night. You can return in the morning and choose what to do next. For now, leave the weight there. I give a simple practice to carry this benediction into sleep. Place your hand over the sternum. Feel the rise and fall. Breathe in for 3 counts. Hold 1. Breathe out for 5. On the exhale, imagine a thin thread of light wrapping once around the heart. The thread is warm and safe. Let it stay. Repeat 3 times. The muscles under the collarbone soften. The mind notices the simple motion and eases. The peace that guards is wide in reach. It includes the small things you remember with a smile and the heavy things you cannot fix tonight. It covers both. This inclusion is not a gentle minimization of pain. It is a steady holding. It says, I see your sorrow. I also hold the small kindnesses that have come. Both are true. Both may rest. For those who tend others through the night, this blessing reaches your hands too. Caregivers, nurses, parents on watch, place the same small light upon your back. Let the sentinel gather your tiredness. Allow the permission to rest when a safe moment comes. A brief closing of the eyes does not betray the watch. It renews it. For those whose grief is raw and close, the guard will not hurry the morning. Grief asks for time. The benediction promises presence, not speed. Let the peace sit like a gentle blanket. Tears can fall beneath it. Silence is allowed. When the body needs to move, let it move. When it wants stillness, let that be enough. For those who wake often in the night, the sentinel's lamp remains. Practice a small hand ritual if waking returns. Touch the wrist where the pulse beats. Say the single name again in your mind. Breathe. Place the name softly on the shelf. Return to the thread of light around the heart. The mind cannot always quiet at once. It can learn to rest in small pieces. This benediction asks no debate. It brings assurance, mercy, and hope. Those are gentle things. They are not heavy arguments. They are small offerings that land like feathered steps. Hope here is not loud. It is the steady ember that holds through long dark hours. Mercy is the hand that does not count failures. Assurance is the quiet fact that someone keeps watch. There is a posture to sleep that the blessing invites. Stop performing for the night. Lay down standards for now. The world does not demand proof under the blanket. Allow the self to be present without finishing the list of corrections. Rest is a permission. Accept it as a small kindness to the body and the soul. If doubts whisper that peace cannot be trusted, answer with memory. Think of one small proof from the day. A cup warmed in the morning, erred or held, a small laugh, let that memory be evidence that good things visit. The sentinel's lamp marks those visits. It keeps them inside the small room, so the night does not swallow them up. I also ask a short practice for the mind that insists on mapping every worry. Take a scrap of paper, or imagine one. Write or name the main worry. Fold it once. Place it into a bowl. Set the bowl beside the lamp. Know it is contained. The act of placing is enough tonight. Tomorrow is for sorting. Let the present hour be for peace. For those who live with chronic pain, the benediction does not pretend to remove the ache. It promises a guarding that helps bear it. Make the surroundings tender. A blanket with weight. A small pillow under the knees. A glass of water within reach. These small adaptations are led by the presence that watches. They keep the night from being a battleground, where pain must be conquered to rest. When sleep does not arrive quickly, be patient with the process. Keep repeating the breathing and the thread of light. Tell the mind, in a soft voice, that it can wander, but the heart will remain rapt. This is a different courage than forcing rest. It is the courage to wait under a steady light and to trust that rest will find its way. The benediction also blesses the sleeper's mind. Guarding the mind is not about keeping out every thought. It is about protecting the space where clarity can return when confusing loops appear. Picture a window pane. Wipe it with a gentle cloth. The image is not about sweeping away worry. It is about making a clearer surface through which the light can enter. The mind becomes less fogged. The next thought has a chance to be kinder. If prayers come easily, offer one now. If prayers do not come, offer silence and a single trusted phrase. This may be a line you have used before, or the one already spoken here. Let the single phrase be a little anchor. It need not be ornate. Plain words often have more power in the dark. I will say a brief wish aloud for the room. May the steady presence that watches keep its lamp near. May rest find the edges of the day and make them kind. May mercy sit where the pulse is quick. May hope be a small ember that does not demand to be large. May the sleeper feel held even when the mind wanders. Keep a small object within reach, if that comforts. A smooth stone, a folded cloth, a small book. Let it be a token of the benediction. When a thought flares, touch the object and remember the thread of light. Rituals are simple anchors. They remind the body of the promise. The mind may forget. As I close this final reading, the lamp will dim a notch. The room will not go dark. It will hold a soft circle of glow. The Bible rests here as a witness, not a judge. The sentence I offered will stay like a small benediction pinned to the inner room. Take 3 slow breaths with me. Inhale for 3. Hold 1. Exhale for 5. On the final out-breath, lay whatever is heavy on the imagined shelf. Let the sentinel take it. Let the little thread of light remain around the heart. The motion is small. The effect is steady. I will sit quietly for a moment before I leave. The door will stay unlatched. The lamp will remain if needed. The presence I call on does not need my voice to keep guard. It keeps watch, whether I stay or step aside. This is the core of the blessing. The peace that surpasses understanding is constant. It is not earned tonight. It is given if morning finds trouble still near. Return to this benediction. Repeat the breathing. Touch the object on the bedside. Remember one small proof from the day. Mercy will be ready. Hope will be patient. The guard will not have left. Now the room grows softer. The breath lengthens naturally. The shoulders let go another notch. Eyes grow heavier. The benediction sits like a hand across the chest. Sleep moves closer in small steps. May the peace of God, which surpasses understanding, guard your hearts and minds as you drift into peaceful slumber. Amen. I close the Bible gently. The sound is soft. The lamp eases its glow. I remain for a few slow heartbeats, and then I go. The night keeps watch now. The benediction stays at the bedside like a small, steady light. Rest, sleep in that keeping. Good night.